Dad said that what happened that night is a secret and that I absolutely must not tell anyone but I.
While speaking, Nellie started to cry softly as if remembering something painful.
What do you mean? What happened?
Actually, Dad, in my room. And the truth that Nellie revealed shocked me deeply. I can't believe my husband would do such a thing. My husband still claims it's for bonding and sleeps in her room. To corroborate the brave testimony that my daughter had given me, I stealthily removed my husband's pants late at night, careful not to wake him. Just as Nellie said. Then an unbelievable truth came to light. My name is Ruby. My husband, Mike, was part of a prominent soccer team in his school days and even aspired to go pro at one point. Although he never realized his dream of turning professional, he still plays futsal as a hobby. Mike tends to be somewhat self-centered, often prioritizing himself over his family. When our only daughter, Nellie, was born, even as I struggled with being a new mother, Mike would carelessly head out for his futsal games as if parenting had nothing to do with him. Hey, you became a father, you know? Can't you prioritize parenting a bit over your hobbies?
Huh? Parenting is your job. What's the point of having a stay-at-home wife anyway? I work under stress every day, so let me have my days off free.
It's true, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but it was Mike who wanted me to quit my job and take care of the home. Yet it's cruel how he berates me for speaking out when I don't work. But even when I objected, Mike wouldn't change his views. If anything, his outings only increased. Reluctantly, I tried to meet him halfway. As Nellie grew old enough to go out, I started attending his futsal matches.
Nice to see your family coming to watch the games. You must have a good family bond.
Oh, yeah, well.
Perhaps not minding it so much when we showed up, Mike seemed in a better mood. At home, his self-centered behavior continued. But deep down, even though I had some grievances, if this helped our family get along, I tolerated it. And so, we maintained a seemingly peaceful daily life on the surface.
Daddy, Daddy.
One holiday, which was rare for Mike to be at home, our toddler Nellie toddled towards him. Then, with her unsteady steps, she accidentally stepped on Mike's foot. It was just the weight of a 1-year-old. However, Mike exploded with anger at Nellie for stepping on his foot.
What the hell? What if you had hurt my foot?
Suddenly yelled at by her father, Nellie, not understanding what was happening, began to cry in confusion. Come on, don't get so angry just because a child stepped on your foot.
It's your fault for not watching her. She wanders around and this happens. Keep her locked up somewhere when I'm around.
I understand that he values his feet because he plays futsal, but it's unlikely that a child stepping on him would cause injury. Fed up with his selfishness, I ignored Mike as I comforted the crying Nellie by holding her and reassuring her. Mike, displeased, muttered some complaints and left the house. To him, family seems to be a secondary concern, with his own needs always coming first. During our dating period, Mike's selfish nature was hidden, but now I truly wonder if it's okay to continue this marriage. But I couldn't take Nellie's father away from her while she was still so young. I just had to endure, trying to avoid upsetting Mike. And then 10 years passed. Nellie has grown into an upper elementary school student, becoming more and more like a young lady every day. She's begun to show more mature behavior and even shares stories about boys she likes with me, showing her delightful growth. As for her father, Mike, things are neither good nor bad. He still selfishly uses his free days for his hobbies, rarely being at home.
You guys being there distracts me and disrupts my game. You don't have to come watch anymore.
Though we used to go watch his games frequently when Nellie was younger, recently, Mike told us not to bother coming anymore, and those visits have ceased. I wasn't particularly interested in futsal, and I used to go to the games just to keep Mike in a good mood. So when he said that, I quietly stopped going. This allowed Nellie and me to spend our weekends more leisurely, which actually suited me better. But around that time, our family started receiving malicious pranks from someone. Just this morning, when I went to get the newspaper from the mailbox, there was a plastic bag inside. Not again. Who could it be? The contents, emitting a foul odor, were nothing but mushy, rotten garbage. Like this, every few days, there would be garbage stuffed in our mailbox or slanderous letters stuck on our front door with no recollection of provoking anyone. Feeling threatened, I discussed it with Mike.
It's just a prank. Don't worry about it.
However, Mike laughed it off. As he was hardly ever home, he treated it as if it was someone else's problem, which frustrated me. What if something happens to Nellie? This was way beyond a mere prank. So, I thought of calling the police.
No, stop that. It's definitely just temporary. If we call the police,
When I mentioned calling the police, Mike visibly panicked. Why? It would be better to consult them sooner and catch the culprit.
no, be more careful. Calling the police might provoke the culprit and escalate things even more. We should just watch a little longer.
Although it didn't sit right with me, Mike was so desperate against reporting it that I reluctantly agreed to wait a bit longer. Then one day, after some time had passed, Mike suddenly announced,
There's a sudden futsal scrimmage in the next county.
"That's quite sudden. When will you be back?"
Probably the day after tomorrow, I guess.
His vague attitude towards the sudden game made me suspicious. I felt distrustful of my husband's behavior, but pressing him would likely only result in being shrugged off or yelled at. So I kept quiet and sent him off, but Mike didn't return until 3 days later. "You didn't contact me, and you came back later than you said. What happened?" I was worried.
There were some troubles, and I got delayed. My phone died, and I couldn't contact you. It can't be helped.
Couldn't one of your teammates have had a charger? Why didn't you borrow one? No matter what I asked about what he had been doing, Mike gave excuses and eventually ended the conversation in annoyance. Was he really at a futsal game? His clearly suspicious behavior only made me more doubtful. And that night, when he finally came home, Mike suddenly said something odd.
I've been away for a while, so you must have been lonely. From today, I'm going to sleep in Nellie's room.
In Nellie's room. What brought this on suddenly?
I've been dumping all the parenting on you till now, right? I know it's late, but I'm reflecting on it. I need to cherish my time with our daughter more. That's what I've been thinking.
I was puzzled by what seemed like a change of heart, but Nellie seemed happy that her father would sleep in her room.
It's the first time I'm sleeping with Dad. I'm okay with it. Mom, it's okay, right?
Nellie hadn't often expressed feeling lonely, despite the frequent absence of her father. But perhaps she had indeed missed him. I was still confused, but seeing Nellie's reaction, I consented to let Mike sleep in her room, despite him previously getting upset just by Nellie touching his leg. What kind of change of heart was this? And there was another suspicious thing about Mike. He had always worn shorts at home, but from that day, he started wearing long pants. Mike usually preferred light clothing due to his dislike of heat, which made it all the more strange. One day, while Mike was in the bath, I went to the laundry area to wash some clothes, and as he was about to step out of the bath, he noticed me and quickly closed the bathroom door.
Why are you here? Get out of here quick.
Mike told me to leave the laundry area hurriedly and in a flustered manner. His attitude was clearly different from before. "What's the matter? It's not like you'd be embarrassed being seen now? Weirdo." He seemed to be hiding something, but I couldn't figure out why. After that, It became routine for Mike to sleep in Nellie's room instead of our bedroom. Nellie didn't seem to mind, so I let Mike do as he wished. I would later deeply regret thinking this way, as it turned out to be a mistake. About a week after Mike started sleeping in Nellie's room, I received a call from Nellie's school. It was Nellie's teacher on the line, asking me to come to the school urgently because there was something we needed to discuss. Could it be that something had happened at school? No, it couldn't possibly be Nellie. Worried about what I might be told, I went to the school where the teacher asked me something unexpected.
Nellie seems to have been a bit down lately. Has anything happened at home?
Excuse me? The teacher asked this seriously, but I couldn't think of any reason. She acted cheerful in front of me, but maybe she was hiding some troubles. I told the teacher I would keep an eye on Nellie and left the school. When I got home, Nellie was watching TV in the living room, so I decided to talk to her. Nellie, I heard from your teacher. They said you seemed down lately. Is something bothering you? Want to talk to Mom about it? I made sure to ask her gently, so as not to sound accusatory. Nellie was initially silent, but eventually seemed to make up her mind.
Dad said, "What happened that night is a secret and that I absolutely must not tell anyone but I."
As she spoke, Nellie started to cry softly, as if remembering something painful. What do you mean? What happened?
Actually, Dad, in my room.
And the truth that Nellie revealed left me deeply shocked. I decided to check something to corroborate Nellie's testimony. Mike still claimed he was sleeping in Nellie's room for bonding. Late at night, once I confirmed that Mike was in a deep sleep, I carefully removed his pants without waking him, just as Nellie said. For evidence, I took a photo of Mike in his underwear with my smartphone. Since I turned on the bedroom light for the shot, Mike eventually woke up to the disturbance.
What's going on? It's bright. Hey, what are you doing?
What am I doing? That's my line. What exactly is going on here? Explain yourself. I pointed at Mike's legs and shouted. There were multiple painful-looking cuts from his shins to his thighs. His sudden wearing of long pants and adamant avoidance of being seen naked were probably to keep these wounds hidden. What are these wounds? What are you hiding?
These are, injuries from a scrimmage.
These are from a game? They clearly look like cuts from a sharp blade. Mike stubbornly insisted they were from an injury during a game. According to Mike, he said he decided to sleep in Nellie's room until the cuts were less noticeable because he thought I would worry if I knew about the injury. And while Nellie was asleep, he tried to change his bandages but was accidentally seen by Nellie, who wasn't asleep yet. Mike had told Nellie not to tell me. However, Nellie thought her father had been attacked and injured by someone, which caused her to lose her spirits. Nellie was still in elementary school. The shock of suddenly seeing raw, unexplained wounds on her father's legs must have been immeasurable. Moreover, she was told to keep quiet about it. Nellie has a conscientious nature and believes that keeping secrets is wrong. She must have struggled greatly with whether to tell me the truth.
Don't make a big fuss about it. This is why I kept it from you. It'll heal soon.
That kind of talk. Don't you care that Nellie is shocked because of the weird way you hid this? Don't you think anything about that?
That's a mother's job to handle, isn't it? I'm tired, okay? Just let me sleep.
Mike gave a sulky look, pulled on his pants, went back to bed, covered himself with a blanket, and fell asleep. Mike is full of excuses, but he's absolutely crazy. He must still be hiding something. Although the conversation ended there, dissatisfied with Mike's strained excuses, I decided to discreetly meet with one of Mike's teammates to hear what they had to say. Then, an undeniable truth was revealed. According to his teammate, there hadn't been any practice matches in the neighboring county recently. And moreover, Mike had been skipping futsal practice increasingly for the past year. My husband, who had frequently claimed to be going to matches, had been lying all along. What does this mean? Where has Mike really been going? The mystery only deepened. Confronting him would likely not lead to a confession. But I couldn't just let Mike continue unchecked, so I decided to hire a detective to investigate him. The investigation revealed that Mike had been having an affair with a coworker named Emily for the past year. He had been using futsal practice as a cover to meet her frequently. So you were keeping secrets from me after all. I confronted Mike with the investigation report and a photo of him walking arm in arm with Emily, looking cozy together, which I shoved in front of him.
How? How did you get this?
Your strange behavior even started affecting Nellie. That's why I hired a detective. I never imagined you were cheating. Faced with irrefutable evidence of his affair, Mike was shocked and eventually admitted to his relationship with Emily. According to Mike, Emily was also the one who had been harassing our home. On the day he lied about the practice match in the neighboring county, he had actually been at a hotel with Emily. She had attacked him multiple times with a survival knife when they parted.
If you don't leave your wife, I'll make sure you can't play in the matches.
The numerous cuts were apparently her retaliation for Mike not leaving me.
I'm a victim too. I never thought she would do something like that. It was just supposed to be a fling, but she took it seriously.
Mike spat out resentfully. But ultimately, it was Mike's fault for initiating an affair despite having a wife and child. However, Mike didn't seem to think he was at fault at all. Emily, who had slashed Mike, had fled somewhere. With the weapon being a survival knife, it could have been life-threatening if things had gone slightly different. Luckily, the injuries weren't severe, but Mike was worried that if I found out about the wounds, I would discover his affair. Thinking this, Mike was forced to stay in a hotel until his injuries healed somewhat. Even after returning home, to avoid me seeing his legs, he decided to sleep in Nellie's room. He intended to keep the wounds a secret from Nellie too, but she accidentally saw them, and he reluctantly told her to keep quiet. But this ended up hurting our daughter.
If it's all out now, there's nothing to be done. I've broken it off with Emily, so don't worry about it anymore. I'll be coming home properly from now on.
Mike said this trying to appease me, but there was no way I could forgive him. Fearing that his affair would be exposed, Mike had not reported Emily's actions to the police. This meant that Emily was still at large and could potentially attack Mike again. And perhaps next time, she might direct her resentment towards Nellie or me. Thinking this, I could no longer stay in the house. The next day, while Mike was at work, I packed our things, left the completed divorce papers on the table, and left the house to pick up Nellie from school.
I've been so scared seeing the wounds on Dad's legs. Worried that someone might attack our family.
I'm sorry, Nellie, for making you feel scared. From now on, Mom will definitely protect you. I squeezed Nellie's hand reassuringly. Mike is unreliable. It's up to me to protect her. We explained our situation and decided to stay with my sister's family for a while. Later, when Mike, unaware of anything, returned home, Emily was waiting for him with a survival knife.
How long will you make me wait? Hurry up and leave your wife.
Wait, please wait.
Alarmed by Emily's unreasonable behavior, Mike fled the house calling for help. Fortunately, it was during a busy time of day, and soon after, someone called the police seeing Emily chasing Mike with a survival knife, and she was arrested on the spot. Learning about this on the news, I was relieved but also terrified by the thought that if we had delayed evacuating, we might have been harmed.
Now that she's caught, please come back home and lighten up.
Messages like this from Mike began arriving daily. In Mike's mind, everything seemed resolved. but I couldn't bring myself to reconcile with a man who had betrayed his family and put us in danger. When I told him that I had no intention of rebuilding our relationship and that we could no longer continue as husband and wife, Mike threw a tantrum.
Cheating is something every man does. I won't divorce. I'm not in the wrong. I tore up the divorce papers, so come back home.
Mike, completely refusing to admit his faults and stubbornly opposing divorce, dragged the proceedings out until they escalated to court. However, hiring a detective and secretly gathering evidence of the affair paid off, and the court fully recognized my claims. The divorce was finally granted, and Mike was ordered to pay a substantial amount in alimony and child support. Until the end, Mike kept asking me and Nellie to come back, but both of us had long since lost any affection for him.
I don't want to live with someone who hurt Mom. You never really cared about us in the first place.
How could you say that? After everything I've done for you, you ungrateful child.
Mike lashed out, hurt by Nellie's words.
I don't remember you raising me. I never want to see you again.
Perhaps those words were the final straw. Realizing he was unwanted by his daughter, Mike hung his head in defeat. Later, I learned through the news that Emily, arrested for assault, showed no remorse. Apparently, Emily answered with a smile.
Once I'm released, I want to see Mike again. I want us to live happily together this time.
Mike must have been horrified. Fearing Emily's release, Mike fled the town, and I have no idea where he lives now. To ensure we never accidentally encounter Emily once she's released, with help from my parents, we moved to a faraway state. There were anxieties about relocating, but I have my precious daughter with me. For her safety and happiness, I was ready to face any challenges. With a fresh start in a new place, we began our new life. Though initially nervous about the divorce and the move, Nellie eventually adjusted to her new elementary school and made many friends, showing her bright smile once again. Having caused her so much distress, I now want to give her only joyful experiences. Though I became a single mother, thanks to a competent lawyer, Mike had to pay enough alimony that we wouldn't face financial difficulties for a while. I started a job in our new home, but made sure to always be back by the time Nellie returned from school, keeping our communication strong. Nellie, having returned from school, eagerly ate the dinner I prepared. As my daughter excitedly told me about the fun things that happened today, her eyes sparkling, I realized that these simple, peaceful, everyday moments are what matter most.